Too sweet! Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's the way you can follow our personal Twitters at the show's Twitter page, which is @_JD Sports. Thank you for watching on YouTube. If you are, you saw the graphic before about how you can get to the SoundCloud, but the way you can still tell people anyways how to get to the SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.com/JD Sports Show.
So Amanda White, this week we have a fight to talk about. There's home runs going on in the MLB at an insane rate between two players that we're definitely going to get into. There is college football to talk about. There is...
It is football time.
A little bit of NFL to talk about. There's steroids not involving baseball to talk about.
That's fun.
And there has been a trade. But we will get to all of that.
Okay.
Because I started off by saying about this fight. So
who'd you beat up?
I always ask you about how your weekend was. I can tell you, we hung out Saturday, and how was your weekend?
It was a good time. Yeah.
I mean,
Saturday we watched the fight.
We'll talk about the fight obviously here in a second, but
yeah.
Anything with a little party atmosphere and JD Sports in the house is a good time. And we were able to do that a couple nights in a row, though. I was very a little slack in the first night because I was tired.
You were.
The second night, though, I turned it up a notch. I came through for you the second night, and you were slacking because you were tired because you went hard the night before. But you went a little harder with me than I was able to with you, but I had to work the next day, so...
Fair enough. I mean, it was a good time, you know. Still what we always do.
Party. Now,
we drink, that's all we do. Calm down. Just had to clarify that because party is a vague word.
We live down the street from Hershey Park. Got to do that Sunday. That was fun.
That's glorious.
Yeah, I was able to make my way down there. That was a good time.
Word.
But Saturday we did this fight. Dwight, did you base this fight off of entertainment value, or did you base it off of like an actual we weren't going into this looking for a boxing match, obviously, because you and I'm not going to say we're boxing purists of any sorts, but we both have watched our fair share of boxing matches, and we both enjoy the boxing. You enjoy combat sports probably far more than I do. The only combat sport I really get into is boxing. So
no, we sat here and basically just shitted on it all week last week.
Not to pat myself on the back, but I mean, my exact words were Mayweather's going to do a little cardio workout and then start punching him pretty hard, towards the end and not try to let it go the distance. But I thought it was going to go the distance. I will admit that I did not. Because I haven't seen Mayweather.
I had no idea.
Mayweather has not actually knocked someone out in over a decade. 7 years ago. 7 years ago he got a KO, but that was based off when the ref stopped the fight and then they went to tap gloves and Mayweather just kind of... I personally don't think it was a cheap shot because of the way that fight went down, but I do understand where people can understand it was a cheap shot. Either way, Mayweather punched a guy while his gloves were down. That's how he got the other knockout. This one... but that wasn't... If you're talking about legitimately in the middle of two guys, whatever, but like it wasn't a weird circumstance. It's been 10 years since Mayweather has gotten a KO, so I didn't think that was going to happen this week, to be honest with you. I thought that Mayweather was just going to do a cardio workout and start throwing a couple punches, but...
I mean, I don't know. I didn't really know what to expect. I even tweeted out before it all went down, what is... And I'm pretty sure I asked it last week, what's the best outcome for this? What do people want? Do they want to knock out? Do they want to go 12 rounds to a decision? I don't know, and I didn't know what the hell to expect. I was more so intrigued, I guess, by the entertainment perspective, but damn sure wasn't about the fight.
But I think that was what the draw was. Like the party atmosphere. Like we had a good time because we had a small party. We had a friend come through that we haven't seen in a long time. I mean, we had a small little it was a cool party atmosphere. I feel like
that's the way most people.
I feel like across America, or even across the world, because this was probably a worldwide event, but at least across America, it feels like the sense was going into it. It was going to be a party weekend. Everyone was going to gather together and watch this.
Yeah, that's just an excuse to have a party.
And that's kind of how I looked at it. The weird thing to me about this whole thing is before the fight, all the Mcgregor supporters were talking about how they thought he had a real chance to win. And now after the fight, all I'm seeing is, how can you guys clown a guy for going 10 rounds with the quote-unquote best boxer of all time, blah, 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 blah. Basically, they're now just giving him like A for effort. And here's my thing. we don't like pat the Falcons on the back because they showed up to the Super Bowl, right? Like
we've been clowning for a year.
Okay,
so
you can't walk into this and just start proclaiming how you think McGregor's going to win, and then be like, oh, well, you have to give him kudos for stepping in the ring. Like, no, he was going to step in the ring no matter what. He's getting paid $108 million. I'd step in the ring. Like, we would all say he was going to step in the ring no matter what. I'm not going to give him kudos for stepping in the ring. No. You guys were literally trying to convince me that McGregor had a chance, and that's where I think that like this is getting out of control in the post-fight. And obviously, we try to separate ourselves from... We're not trying to be media, and we're not trying to be fans. We're trying to be somewhere in between, I always feel like, you and I. Yeah. And I look at it from... I think that the media has a ridiculous, weird rationale going on, but I feel like the fan side of this, all I'm seeing is just... Like I said, the A for effort, but it's the same people who were saying McGregor was going to win, and it's like, well, you can't have it both ways. You can't tell me that you thought he was going to win, and then now say, oh, well, he tried, and that's, he went longer than you thought he would, and it was like, well, that's not good. Like, that doesn't mean he did well. Also, the reason I find this to either A be staged, which I don't think it was staged, but that Mayweather was actually this much more skilled than McGregor. Mayweather tried to put $40,000 on knocking him out in the 9th, 10th, or the 8th, 9th, or 10th round, because you can bet on the 3-round. You can do the 3-round block. He tried to put $40,000 on that. He threw his most punches in the 8th, 9th, and 10th round. He literally said when he was going, he picked when he was going to knock him out, and then he finished the fight in that block. I mean, come on.
Of course he did.
Come on. I mean, so if that's not, like, to me, as somebody who is deep invested into sports and follows betting a lot and actually cares about this stuff, not these people who are just... who literally stepped into sports for the weekend and now want to tell me how these things work. For somebody who was actually invested in this, all I need to know is he literally was trying to put $40,000 actual dollars down on a certain amount of time when he was going to do it, and then did it in that time frame. So like that's all I need to know about where this fight actually was. That means he picked when he was going to do it and did it. Like that's how far the skill levels apart.
I'm not going to go.
But do you understand where I'm seeing where that comes from?
Well. Yes, but I'm not going there. I'm not going to go the rigged route. But to go
no, not rigged. I'm saying I wasn't saying rigged. I'm saying that's how. No, I'm saying that Mayweather literally is so much more skilled than Conor McGregor at what they were doing. Is that he literally said I was going to do it in the 8th, 9th, or 10th, and then he did. He was literally trying. He didn't say it in an interview. He was trying to put $40,000 actual dollars down.
Right.
That to me is enough to know that Mayweather knew he was that much more skilled than McGregor. But that's what I'm saying in the sense of this is a football team versus a baseball team. It'd be like the football team telling the bookies, hey, in the third quarter, we're going to put up 37 points. We're not going to score a point until then, but in the third quarter, watch us. We're putting 37 points up, and they go out and put 40 up. Do you know what I mean? Like that's how far the skill level, the difference is what I'm trying to explain to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. To go back to your other point, though, which is what I was more concerned about than that one, which is I agree with you that you're saying that you feel like people are just pretty much just giving Conor that old attaboy. Which I mean,
get out of here.
Which I was like,
you were trying to tell me he was going to win.
Look. This is what I said, and I'll still say that. Was it a catastrophe like I thought it was going to be? No. Did he kind of hold his own? Yeah, I mean, compared to what I thought it was going to be, yes. But the way that everybody is presenting it after the fact, as in immediately after the fight, and now going forward, apparently, people are acting like he was really going to knock this man out or something.
There was no shot.
Shout out, I mean, I guess you get, I mean, he gets kudos, I guess, for doing it. But, I mean, I don't think you get kudos for, that's why my next point was that he didn't land that many punches. Like, yeah, he was throwing a lot. I mean, that's what's up. But I mean, first of all, a lot of them,
he only landed 17 clean.
Right. And half of those he wasn't connecting.
They
fully.
Said that
he wasn't hitting so hard.
They said the uppercut is the one of the 17 that he actually got the full power. The rest of them,
and it was a good hit.
The clean ones that they're counting, they still don't feel like he got the power behind it that a lot of boxers would have. That's not.
Most of them were not good, clean, pure power hits. He only had a few of those.
Floyd ran 3 miles after that fight.
And I think that's factual. The percentage that McGregor did, quote unquote, land, which he did, whatever, kudos. It was such a small percentage that it's like, okay, do we give CM Punk kudos for going out there? Well, they did. People did, and he got the crap beat out of him. So I guess if CM Punk gets kudos for going out there in the UFC, I think, if you're going to give CM Punk kudos, you have to give McGregor kudos because he looked a hell of a lot better than CM Punk did. They both looked ridiculous, but I mean, kind of looked. From that perspective, he looked a lot better. And honestly, to his credit, he did look better than what I thought he was going to look.
I want to be,
but he was. But I'm not trying to give him an attaboy. I'm saying, I mean, he was all right, cool.
I want to be straight up.
He did better than I would, I guess.
He did better than I would too, but I want to be straight.
And he went 10 rounds, whatever the reason was, but he did go that route.
I want to be straight up when I say this. I think there is a UFC fighter out there that is good enough to go toe-to-toe with boxing professionals if they could train for 10 months, a year, or whatever, and I think they could actually fight competitively in boxing matches against people who are very world-class boxers. I do think they are out there. I do not think Conor McGregor is one for it because in the sense of his style, he literally goes out there and wears the rope-a-dope style that you were saying last week, but Conor McGregor just does that to himself. He goes out there and tires himself. He does that in the UFC.
Yeah,
so he went out there and tired himself out.
We didn't even talk about that. What I'm pretty sure one of us said it. By the 4th, 5th round, we said he was going to be winning.
Well, I think
that's about when it clicked.
I think I said the specific round, but
just
we
a
both said
bit.
about he was going to get tired.
And it clicked a little bit, and it just got really, really bad by the 10th round, and you saw it. It was just there. I said I don't feel like Mayweather necessarily beat him. I feel like fatigue beat him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because,
absolutely. I won't disagree with that.
He was wobbling like he was intoxicated, and he wasn't getting hit.
Even in the rounds that he quote unquote won,
he was exhausted.
Even in the early rounds that he quote unquote won, he got Floyd got more body shots off on him than McGregor got shots off in general. Now, also. Floyd, you could have put a fly between Floyd's face and McGregor, to your point, in the last 3 rounds when McGregor was throwing punches, and the fly wouldn't have died.
That one punch, it's going to be an infamous thing. He literally looked like he booped Mayweather on the nose. I was like, was that on
because
purpose?
he couldn't extend anymore.
I didn't know that. Like, was that supposed to be a funny thing, or did he really just try to hit him and it was just a boop?
I know my answer to
understand
this.
that.
I know my answer to this, but do you think that the ref called it too soon?
No.
I don't either.
No. When you are to a point where you're not defending yourself, you're not throwing any punches, and you're just wobbly, now it's about time to call it.
I'm glad you said that. I'm going to give you the exact numbers.
And then people say, well, if it was the UFC, well, wouldn't
if this is the UFC,
some UFC
he'd be bleeding out.
Too.
He'd be bleeding out right
and
now.
And his head
at that point.
bouncing off the mat.
If it was the UFC, he would have been tackled.
Right.
So, but I want to give you exact numbers on that. You said he didn't throw a punch and he couldn't block. He didn't block above his basically like chest. He didn't get above it to his shoulders in over a minute and a half, and he didn't throw a punch in over a minute.
I didn't like his stance in general. He went into UFC stance, and
I
was like,
it's protect yourself at all times. He couldn't do that towards the end, so I think that they did the right thing by calling it. He wasn't going to gain more strength. He would have fell in the next minute or two, and then once he fell, they would have called it.
Which
anyways.
I mean, it would have been more of a meme, I guess, and people would have been
okay,
cool, but
I look at
you don't need to go that far. He was out on his feet. That's what they call it. He was out on his feet.
And it's McGregor. I'll like you can't. It's McGregor being McGregor. When he says that, he thinks he wish it would have went longer because he thinks he would have been able to come back in the next 2 rounds. I think that's ridiculous. Here's what I really think. If you got him in an honest moment, I think he would have wished it went further in the sense of. At this point, because he is a fighter, and at this point he knew that he wasn't going to win, but I think he felt like the people deserved for how big the fight was, how hype. At least put me on the ground. I'm going to go to the ground. He knew he was going to the ground. Mayweather, the world,
was close.
The entire world knew he was going to the ground. I think in his mind he was probably mad at the ref for calling because he was like, "Look, this is supposed to be the event of the summer. At least let me go to the ground. I mean, give them what they wanted." Because I think if you give him an honest moment, I mean, look. So I forget who said it, but a UFC fighter said it. Like the people who are arguing about the whole he got counted out too early. Like what do they think is a video game where he's gonna go like get some kind of green bar and find his energy again? Like he was woozing and couldn't defend himself and didn't throw a punch in a minute.
Literally.
Realistically, there's no way he doesn't get just punched another 15 more times. If he stands for another 15 more punches, that would just be impressive. But he was going down to the next 15 to 20 punches if he made it that far.
And then it would just got ugly, and we've been saying, why didn't they call it?
Yeah. He was, and what, for the last minute and a half, weren't you and I both standing, and I'm yelling at the TV, he can't defend himself. I was yelling, call it a minute before they called it, because I was like, he literally cannot defend himself now, and that's a dangerous situation.
Real ugly. The one thing we didn't bring up, which I do want to bring up, speaking of yelling at the TV, because I was yelling at the TV constantly.
Yeah, you got up a couple times there, and like.
And it didn't even have anything to do with it. It was more so just because the ref, I feel like the ref was letting too much shit go. And people are saying, well, Floyd was turning around.
I think it was both of them on this, by the way.
He was
I think
turning
people
around.
Can't blame one or the other. They were both
but McGregor was also grabbing him.
They were both doing
grabbing his arm around, beating on top of his head, and the ref wasn't doing anything. But
for the same reason people
he did it like 4 or 5 times. So either give Floyd a warning and lose a point, or you do it to McGregor. the ref would just let it go too much, and that
I
was
agree.
irritating the hell out of me.
For the people who
Somebody
are trying
needs to
to
be
say,
told about themselves, and the ref wasn't doing anything.
For the people who are trying to say, oh,
you can't beat a man on the top of the back of his head.
Floyd's turning around, you can't turn your back to the
Fine,
man.
that's right.
I agree, but
you also can't wrap your arm around somebody.
To the same argument, yet you can't actually, like, McGregor was also stepping to the left. So my point is, both
and then
were
beating
doing
him on the back of his head. Like,
both,
you can't do that.
he knew he was doing it. So both of them were doing things that they both knew they shouldn't be doing. That was on both of them trying to get the other one in trouble. It's like flopping in the NBA. That's exactly what that was.
Yeah. And they both played that part.
It was a
and the
strategy.
ref just let it go, and I was like,
whatever.
really? This is a Hall of Fame referee. Sorry, but no disrespect. But what
He
are
has
you
been
doing?
known, I forget his name. He's been known for getting involved in fights too much. Like I heard an interview from Teddy Atlas, and Teddy Atlas, the ESPN guy, he was talking about how he has seen this man get involved in a lot of fights a little extra, and a lot of people were kind of upset that he was going to fight this fight because they knew right from the gate that he was probably going to hurt himself. And how about him looking just right at McGregor? Do you think that was because he thought
at the beginning of the fight when he was literally giving all the instructions?
Do you think
he was just looking at McGregor the entire time?
Do you think that's because McGregor was never in a fight before?
I don't know. Possibly. I don't know. Maybe he put money on Floyd too. I don't know. But that was kind of wild. And you mentioned that, and I laughed it off, thinking that at one point he's going to turn around, but he never did. He didn't turn around until he said, "Do you understand, Floyd?" I was like,
I mean, I don't know how long he did it. I don't know if he
standing there for like 60 seconds at McGregor.
I was gonna say if he did it for a minute.
It was more than that.
It was about. I'm saying, but if he did it for a minute, about 10 seconds into it is when I said to the room, I was like, he hasn't looked at Mayweather once. And then we're 30, 40 seconds later, and Dwight's like, he still hasn't looked at him. And
no,
it was
he's
like
looking at McGregor.
He didn't look at Mayweather one time until like you said.
Either he had a bet or he was telling McGregor, look, you don't understand, so I'm gonna explain to you a little extra. But yeah, that was wild. There's certain things about it were just little things that just irritated me throughout the whole thing.
So, I mean, I feel like we've covered every little aspect with it.
Overall, like I said, it wasn't a catastrophe, but it fulfilled its purpose.
Was it entertaining?
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining.
I thought it was entertaining as well.
There's some things I didn't like about it all around, but, I mean, it was entertaining.
I think that people...
It was more entertaining than I thought it was going to be.
I think that people fell for...
WWE.
The trick of thinking McGregor can actually hang in there with boxers, and I think that people fell for the trick of Mayweather was older and slower, and I think what people even if this was real,
I'm glad you said that.
Even if they weren't just baiting people into, or at least Mayweather wasn't just baiting people into thinking that McGregor can actually hit him and that he was a little slower. Even if it wasn't just that, if this was real, like from that sense, there's a 20-year difference between these two. And in any sport, if you got me to run against somebody 20 years my age older, or to try to tackle somebody 20 years my age older, or that person tried to tackle me, more than not, I'm going to be able to do it because that person is just 20 years older. So the fact that Mayweather did that, in and of itself, if this was completely real and Mayweather was trying his 100%, which I don't think he was doing until the fourth round, but even if he was, it's still ridiculous that he would beat somebody 20 years younger to him in that, especially in that sport. What were we going to say?
I was going to say, do you think Floyd Mayweather looked like he was a little slow out there? Because, I mean, I caught that here and there. Not the entire fight, because early on, especially, I thought he was just playing McGregor early on. I thought that Floyd
Mayweather was...
And then, like, in the middle, I was like, he might be slowing up. But then at the end, he came back, so I was like, I don't know.
I think in the first 4 rounds, he was as quick as he possibly could be, which is obviously a little slower than usual, so I will give you that.
He was playing.
But But when he went on the attack, which I've never seen Mayweather do, at least in the last 10 years like that, when he went on the attack, let me give it to you this way. I think
McGregor was also winded
I think it was
as
that
hell.
he was not scared of the punches coming towards him. I think that
that's why he was laughing the whole fight.
I think if he had to stand in there, he was. I think if he had to stand in there with somebody like Triple G or Canelo, which obviously weight class now is different, but I think if Mayweather had to stand in there,
would stand with Triple G and do that.
Here's my thing. I don't know if he does, but my thing is I think you would see a much quicker Mayweather in that fight than you saw in this fight, if that's what you're asking. He would be actually running for his life there, where in this one I don't think he was scared to run for his life, so I think that's why. I think he was naturally just lazy about his movements in the sense of he didn't have to be as fast as he was against a guy like Triple G, or he would have to be against a guy like Triple G or Canelo. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and literally after the fight, which was weird, I was like, oh, that's interesting. He was like, I felt like I owed the fans one for Pacquiao, and I was like, that's funny, because one, you're right, so...
And also, okay, that's another sense of the word.
Is that just your excuse for not running so much,
do you think this fight was better than the Pacquiao fight? I think that neither fight... See, I don't...
I'm not saying
I think
from
both
a pure
fights
boxing
were not,
perspective, no.
I think both fights were no good. Yes, okay.
I would agree with that. That fight was garbage, and it was worth $20, but... This was more so. We all knew going in it wasn't about the fight. I mean, logical people knew that. It was more so about the entertainment and the what if. So I don't look like I said.
Thought there was a what if through the
When
entire time.
you said at the beginning, did you see it as entertainment or as a fight? I saw it as entertainment. It's WWE to me, so I didn't pay this money for this fight. I paid for the entertainment.
Even after the first 3 rounds, did you think McGregor had a shot to win that?
No.
Okay. I didn't either. I never, not once throughout that fight. Yeah, through the first 3 rounds that everyone claims McGregor won, which I'm not saying he didn't win. I don't know how you want to score that. I guess if you want to give it to him, then give it to him. I'm not going to argue that. My point is even if he won
3 out of 10,
even if he won all 3 of those rounds, until we got to the 7th round and he would have won every round in a row, I wouldn't have been uncomfortable because I just felt like Mayweather was just waiting to turn it on, and obviously he did.
I mean, I'm glad they have to come to a decision because at that rate, you're probably gonna get a quote rigged situation where they're gonna say give it to the boxer and they're gonna give it to him anyway.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. It was cool. It's not a fight. It was an entertainment.
That was supposed to be a historical event. That was supposed to be. And it's something we're going to talk about for a long time. The last thing I want to do.
We're not going to talk about it after today. So
I agree. Triple G and Canelo is what we're actually going to talk about after today. But the last thing I want to say about this fight is I do think it does open up a situation where you're going to have more crossover. Like I said, where I think there is guys in the UFC that can box.
I don't see it.
Let me put it to you this way. McGregor had to create McGregor's promotions for this because you have to promote you don't have to promote yourself, but the UFC wasn't going to create a UFC promotion just for him. So he created McGregor Promotions, which is now boxing. They're now boxing promoters.
Right.
I mean, it's already set up now. McGregor is a boxing promoter. It is set up for him to start. Why not him versus some guys on the money team? You can do this. They make more money in a undercard fight of Triple G and Canelo than they do as the main event in the UFC. So why not, if you're the UFC guy, do it? And especially with the numbers this year, if you could start putting these on pre-cards, before a Triple G or Canelo type fight. I mean,
I don't see him necessarily do it. Maybe he hires guys underneath that promotion.
I'm not saying he fights.
Right. Well, okay. Well, then that's cool.
That's what I
can see it being under his umbrella, but I don't see him doing it.
I'm saying Mayweather and McGregor, are kind of like promoters going against each other now because they're bringing more UFC. Not even just against
after
Mayweather.
The fight. Now they're boys. Like
I got you. Yeah, but
too.
You know what I mean. We did.
And
but
you said after the fight they're gonna have wine, and who was standing up there with the drink? McGregor. He was like, "Yeah, here's to you."
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly what we said. So
absolutely.
shout out to everybody that bought into that BS.
Hell yeah.
Everyone that bought into that nonsense that they hate each other.
I just
they're
think
all
that,
this, but they're boys in real life.
I think there's a lot of business to be had between that, and I'm not. Look,
of course.
I think there's a way that they do it. So
but then let's just admit that it's just a show.
I keep saying
WWE. Can we finally admit that?
I keep saying last thing, but
not us, but everybody else.
I guess this is honest last thing. Honest last thing. Do you see a rematch?
No,
I don't either.
No, the only way there was a rematch is if Mayweather loses. No, there's no way. McGregor, quote unquote, has nothing to prove, which I would agree with that. Why do it again? Why?
Is there a name as big as McGregor in the UFC? We'll talk. I guess John. We can.
At this point, no.
We can talk about Jone Jones.
At this point, no. I don't even know who's number 2 anymore.
So if somebody were to cross over, they wouldn't create the numbers McGregor did as well. That's
not even a quarter of that. No. No.
Staying with fighting, moving on from that.
I don't want to talk about this man.
Well, that's why we're gonna do it real fast, but we have to. He's the greatest UFC fighter I have ever seen.
Who's that, Jone Jones?
But he is not ever together.
Is he the biggest idiot in the UFC you've ever seen? Because he's about there with me. I don't want to say what I said I was going to say.
Gets suspended for coke a couple years ago, right before a fight. Gets arrested a couple nights before a fight for speed racing. Makes it to a fight. Wins the fight, gets his title back. We're all on Jone Jones' side. We're big fans of him. Hey, he's, like I said, the best UFC fighter I've ever seen. I don't even watch UFC, but I do like watching his fights.
Comeback number 2 or 3.
This man was on Twitter saying, Cormier is the guy he fights, right? Daniel Cormier, right?
Yeah.
What is Daniel Cormier going to say as an excuse this time around? What is he going to say as an excuse this time around? Right. He was saying, this man was tweeting, now that I'm clean, now that he has no excuses. Now, as he was not clean, he is saying things like this.
So what did he get busted for this time?
Steroids. Which, I'm fairly sure he's gotten busted for cocaine and steroids multiple times.
I don't remember the exact order or what it is anymore.
It was cocaine,
I'm losing track.
Racing, and then steroids, but I'm pretty sure there was more cocaine and steroids involved in all this. Anyways, my point is... This man was
What's your
saying
point
about
before I
what.
say something
This man is
ridiculous?
literally saying what's going to be the excuse. What's he going to say? Like, and then I'm clean.
Why you're doped up on steroids?
But while you're putting it in you, you're
Right.
saying you're clean. You're knowing you're not clean. Were you tweeting that as they were putting the steroids in you?
He had a needle in his ass cheek.
As he was just, I'm going to get on Twitter here, talk about, wonder what Cormier's excuse is going to be.
As I proceed to beat him on my roids. You know,
He doesn't even need the steroids. That's the worst part about this.
No, he doesn't.
Jon Jones does not even need steroids.
He is a
Do I think
man.
all of them at some
never...
point? Do I think that all of them at some point have probably dived into steroids? Most likely. I don't know. I don't know the UFC culture like that. I do not know the UFC culture like that. I do think that, I'll be honest with you, I think that every football player has gotten HGH or steroids, so I just assume that, and I know that baseball, I don't think that they do because of the testing. I think that hockey has really good testing as well, but I just think that football testing...
I think the UFC has good testing.
I don't know. I don't know their culture. I don't know their culture like this.
They
so
seem to catch all of them.
Boxing's very good as well, and you're right, they do seem to catch them all in the UFC with the Lesnar and now Jon Jones.
I don't get that right, because some people are legitimate.
But hold on.
So you can't.
Are they?
I don't say that because I can't.
I'm asking out of just general curiosity. Are they testing just right before fights, or do they test from the last time you fought till this fight? Because if they're not testing from the last time you fought till this fight,
I don't know. There might be random testing. I don't know.
If there's random testing between that, it would be a lot more legit. Also, I'm not saying that means that every single fighter. If they don't test between, I'm not saying that every fighter gets off a fight and then just starts using steroids to get big again and then stops before a fight. I'm also not saying that I wouldn't disbelieve if a lot of them did or a couple of them did.
Right.
But Jon Jones, you're right. Jon Jones and Lesnar both have gotten caught, and this is not a good look for the UFC in the sense of that is the two biggest card names
outside of McGregor.
Outside of McGregor, and McGregor hasn't fought on a UFC card in over a year. So this is the two biggest card names that you've had in the last 12 months. They've only fought once each. So that means you've had twice in the last 12 months that your three biggest fighters have fought.
Right.
And the only two that have fought both got popped with steroids after.
Yeah, I mean it's not a good look, and
I mean at least they can fight each other because they want to fight each other, and no one's going to stop them both from putting a lot of steroids in their body and then figuring out someone's backyard in a cage. I'll tape it.
I'll get to that. As far as Jon Jones goes, real quick,
that'd be good for the WWE.
Vince ain't touching that. You're gonna have to extend Lesnar's contract if that's the case. As far as Jon Jones goes, I'm gonna try to be as PC as I possibly can, but forget you. Like I'm done with.
No, yeah, I'm done with
it. I can't keep.
I like how you went the Gnarls Barkley route instead of saying the unedited version.
Can I say the unedited?
No. The unedited version of Gnarls Barkley, "Forget you," is what Dwight wants to actually say to Jon Jones. Because I agree. Keep going. You're more invested in that on all of that culture than I am, so that sucks.
It's annoying. It's annoying.
He put them on the map, man.
It sucks because he's an excellent fighter, and we talk about second chances on the show a lot. We believe in second chances on that nonsense, but when you get second, third, and fourth chances, now it's time that I gotta say F you because I can't condone what you're doing. Shout out to Terry Wolf. I can't condone your actions, and it gets to a point where now I just look stupid because I keep supporting you. Yeah, and we talk about separating sport and person all the time, but now. But he's integrating sport and person. Right, at that point, it's the same thing.
He's integrating sport.
And you've done it, and you've gotten caught doing dumb shit more than once. I can't keep supporting you. And I feel like as much... Let me say something about Dana White, because he said... No, because I need to say something about him. But I don't think, to his credit, I don't think he's going to allow this man to come back. And at this point, I don't blame him.
If he does, it'll be 3 or 4 years from now. And
I don't
33, 34 years old, that's not a good time to try
if anything, and to your point about Lesnar, if anything, they'll help in like Bellator, because I don't think they'll
do it together.
They'll just take a name. They don't really care. But I don't think. But Dana White made a comment saying he had it, and we know it's just PR. But I have to say, Dana, shut up for like the 1000th time, because he said, I didn't talk to Jon Jones since UFC 200. Mind you, that was July of last year, so it's been 14 months because there's a pay-per-view every month. So since UFC 200 of last July, he has not spoken to him, allegedly, Jon Jones. So he didn't speak to Jon Jones on his congratulations on his comeback. He didn't speak to him when he won the title this year. He didn't speak to him when he suspended him. This is what Dana White is claiming. I understand he's doing a PR thing and he's probably just making it up. But at the same time, I know you're full of it and you just need to shut up and just be like, yeah, we had a conversation. No, I'm not at liberty to talk about it right now because we're dealing with some things. So Dana White, just shut up. But I don't see Jone Jones coming back because I feel like Dana White has probably had enough too because he don't deal with nonsense and he cuts that, and I think that's about where we're at with him. And it sucks because I enjoy watching him fight, but if you're gonna keep being an idiot, then forget you.
Do you think, with all of this said, to bring it full circle, with everything, and Dana White desperately needing somebody, do you think McGregor goes back into the octagon?
No. Oh, in the octagon, yeah.
Not boxing.
No,
so you think
he
goes
wants
back
it to
to
happen?
UFC?
Yeah. Well, McGregor, I don't know. McGregor's perspective, why would he? From Dana White, he's probably going to beg and plead. All but he can't. Ronda Rousey's supposedly working out for WWE or trying to do that route. Jone Jones is gone. Brock Lesnar is going to at least be gone until probably next fall if he comes back at all. Jone Jones is like, I mean, yeah, there's other names, and we're not trying to be ignorant by not naming some of these other names that I could fucking name, but
no,
I don't
other
see.
Names.
But it's not of that marquee. It's not the marquee.
It's gonna be hard for them to really. They didn't have a good summer. And UFC's really going to need something in the next 12 months. We didn't even talk about it, but
Amanda Nunes, one of their,
I know.
She didn't fight a couple months ago because she had medical issues, but fair enough. But again, it was just another situation where now we got a dry summer. But I mean, like I said, they got some solid fighters, and some of them I do enjoy watching, but they're not marquee.
That's why
they're not marquee. Robbie Lawler, he's excellent.
I got you.
But that's not something. It's going to draw, but it's not going to draw what these other people do. So I don't know.
You got to get McGregor back in it. But do you think the only way? Do you think the only way McGregor fights? And here's the thing: I don't like McGregor most of the time, but one of my favorite McGregor moments ever was him screaming into a microphone after he won his last fight, saying, "I deserve to own a piece of the UFC." And here we are. But here we are, this far later, and literally he's now put the UFC in the entire UFC. He literally at $108 million is more than what the UFC generates as a whole per. Whatever. I mean, obviously they're worth billions of dollars, but to be fair, like he just made more money than literally the next 10 fighters will over the next decade.
That's factual.
I
don't know about decade, but yeah, I hear you.
Not combined. I'm saying if they all fought for 10 years, they will not make the $108 million. They can literally 10 years. If they fought twice a year, they would only make $108 million. So I'm sorry, they would get to his number if they fought twice a year for 10 more years. That is impossible for you to do in that sport.
On many levels, yeah.
So, do you think the only way he comes back is by getting a piece of the UFC?
It's possible. I mean,
Dana White said he would not rule it out.
He'd probably have every right to make that argument.
His exact words were,
"Dana, you owe me one."
If anyone deserved it, it would have to be Conor.
How much? We haven't even talked about this in a while. I hear you in saying that, but we haven't even talked about this in a while. Does Dana have as much control as we think he does?
I mean, I
haven't heard anything about that in a while.
He's still the face. I don't know.
Right. So we don't even know if he has any right to be even saying anything about that because we haven't heard about these other people that now own a part of it or own all of it or whatever the situation is because it's been so long. So who knows? I would say McGregor can have that argument. If I'm Conor McGregor and I just did what I did for Dana White and the UFC, I'm definitely doing that. And I'm definitely demanding more money if I would go back to the UFC because I feel like I would earn it. I'm not making what I just made, but I need a little extra than what you would pay me normally. Yeah. McGregor's got a lot of arguments going forward. So I don't disagree with it. I'm cool with it.
Do you have anything else involving combat sports of any kind?
No, I think we covered that pretty well.
Good, because
that's the gist of all of it.
You know me, I'm really bad with segues, but I can segue from a steroid topic to guys hitting home runs, which that's always works out, right?
That's about as good as it's going to get, folks.
I got two guys I want to talk about hitting home runs. Neither of them I think are on steroids. The first one.
Okay.
The old home run number was 61 forever. Till 2007, Barry Bonds hit 73 in a year. And that's the new home run record for 1 year. But a lot of fans put an asterisk behind the 73, and a lot of people still find that 61 to be a pure number, even though it's damaged, even though it's not in the record books.
Okay.
There's a guy, his name is Giancarlo Stanton, used to be Mike Stanton, plays for the Florida Marlins. Miami Marlins, whatever their name is now.
Nobody knows.
He got to 50 before the end of August, which has only happened 4 times since Mantle hit 61. All 4 of them, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa. All 4 of them, 3 guys, all of them steroids.
Just want to sip this tea.
So Stanton, if he gets to 61, the big, and shout out to Eric Thomas, who does Central Dolphin Radio Network football on Fridays. They beat, I know you're not, like, Hannah Pride over here or anything, but CD, shout out to them on Friday.
I was in Susquehanna, so I don't hate them. So I root for them.
CD beat them on Friday and held Hannah to -22 rushing yards in the game. It was insane.
I take back what I just
said.
That's
incredible, right?
I take back what I said.
So shout out to them CD Wild Boys defense. They got some wide receivers for the first time in a long time. But anyway,
I mean, I do the Hannah thing, but I'm more so about the Cougars in general. So.
Yeah, I got you. I hear you. Hey, they're fun to watch.
Always.
They're gonna be really good this year.
Always are. All sports. Men and women.
They got Micah Parsons. But anyway, shout out to Eric Thomas, who he was the one who brought this up to me about the Stanton thing. He wanted to know my actual opinion. Would you count, like, I know somebody who doesn't watch baseball, would you count 73 or 61? Like, do you think if he gets to 61, would you call Stanton the new home run king? Because that's what the debate is. Do you call Stanton the home run king if he gets to 61?
No, because as much as I understand people that want to put the asterisks there, I probably... And I'm not the baseball purist, obviously, nor do I even watch casually often. But I would still say...
You get playoffs, and that's about it, which is awesome.
Maybe, if you get that.
Yeah, right.
But, no, I would still say, no,
Bonds.
I said McGregor. Bonds, McGuire, whoever the hell has it.
Bonds
has it. I would definitely say that they're, number one. Yeah, I would go that route.
I would.
At least I think. If I was a baseball purist, maybe I'd say something different.
I've always put it in this perspective.
I tell you what, the couple times I paid attention was during the quote steroid people.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, the steroid era is absolutely the most popular era of baseball.
I paid attention to McGregor.
McGuire and Sosa. You watched that. Everyone, the whole country was watching it back and forth. We were, but we saw. I mean, my dad. I remember my dad waking me up when McGuire hit the home run. I forget exactly what number it was, but when he hit the home run, I remember my dad waking me up before every at bat, because on ESPN was back then all you had was really ESPN. ESPN was going into every at bat he had for like 4 straight nights. And my dad, I went to bed, and they don't start until 8 o'clock East Coast time, so their 7th, 8th, 9th inning was 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock here. So I was going to bed. We were that young. My dad's waking me up for every at bat, and I actually woke up and saw him hit the thing, which was awesome.
And I followed Bonds as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and him hitting the 73. I look at it this way. I've always said, and I'm okay if you put steroid users in the Hall of Fame, and if you just want to
mention it, cool.
And that's my thing. Is I would personally rather, if you're going to put them in, mention it. Just say, hey, look, this era.
They don't want to glorify it.
There is a era of baseball that there was if you hit 9 home runs in a year, you were literally looked. It was called the dead ball era, and you were literally looked at as like the greatest thing to ever. Like they were not hitting home runs ever. So then you get to that era where in the 1912 through 1927 or whatever, where it starts to shift and people are hitting 15, 20, 30 home runs, and then in the 50s and 60s and 70s, you got people hitting 50 and 60 home runs. I think Mantle hit it in, I want to say 67 is when he did the 61, but either way, and that was an unridiculous pace. Like I think Ted Williams, who was the greatest hitter of all time, him or Pete Rose, Ted Williams never hit over 50 home runs in a season. So, it's incredible to think of. But then you got guys this year who hit 50 home runs. I've always looked at it as if you separate them in some way, that's fine. You want to put the asterisks behind them, that's fine. I count what Bonds did because I don't think that just because he used steroids, he hit the ball at any more of a rate than he would have. He might have hit them further, or he might have gotten more muscle. But Bonds was a Hall of Fame player, or at least on pace to be a Hall of Fame player before he was using steroids.
Nobody can separate that though. That's what.
Same with Alex Rodriguez. I don't know if Alex Rodriguez was using steroids at 18, 19 years old, but that kid at 18, 19 years old was on pace to be, if he kept doing what he was doing, a Hall of Fame player.
And nobody even talks about him and his issues. We just talk about him and his wife.
And that's why we can shout out to guys like Ken Griffey Jr., who have never even been talked about, and he lived through that era. He played in that era and was obviously a sure first ballot Hall of Famer. So if you need to separate it for history purpose, for people 500 years from now, I am absolutely cool with that. But yes, I would like Stanton. If Stanton gets to 62, I would like him to somehow get acknowledged as, hey, look, he was the first guy outside of the steroid era when we were testing like crazy that we know for sure 110% was clean and did more than the 61. If you want to acknowledge that one, I'm 1,000% in on that as well.
Then you pretty much just leave it up to the fans. If they want to put him number one or this guy number one, then cool, you let them do it. And just like I said, just put the little asterisk there. That's cool.
I think that the
it doesn't bother me like it bothers other
steroid
people.
thing in baseball is like a balloon, and I think within the next 10 years, I think in my lifetime at least, it's gonna pop, and the Hall of Fame is going to have to.
A choice.
They're gonna have. You can't.
You're gonna have 10 years
can't
worth of
keep this
baseball where
history
nobody's
out.
gonna be put in.
I mean, my favorite.
More than that, 15
my
years.
favorite Phillies team of all time. If you go up at the 1993 Phillies, which I was a really young kid, but 08's my favorite Phillies team. But the 93 Phillies is a beloved Philadelphia Phillies team. If you go up and down that lineup, they were out of their 9 starters, 7 of them were guaranteed to be using steroids. So like. But that's just how. I'm not saying that's how it was. Let's accept it. But that's how it was. We have to accept it. There was nothing we can do about it. Most of the league was using steroids. So.
Or, like I said, we're going to get to a point where we're going to have a huge gap where we're not putting people in. It's going to be weird.
I would love to acknowledge him, though, in some way, shape, or form, if he does get to 62. Because he deserves to be acknowledged. He deserves to be extremely acknowledged. What he's done, even if he doesn't get to 62, just shout out to him the last month and a half.
Yeah.
He literally had to hit a home run, I think, 2 home runs a week for the last month, and he's destroyed that number to get to where he's at. Shout out to somebody destroying numbers. In his first 18 games, the Philadelphia Phillies have called up the best baseball player of all time, Rhys Hoskins. Sorry.
He's something serious or some nonsense.
He's hit 11 home runs in 18 games.
Where he said
Nobody
the best
has
baseball
ever
player.
done that. That makes him the best baseball player of all time through 18 games, at least, right, Dwight? Look,
Philadelphia fans got my nerves.
I'll put it to you this way. I don't think that pitchers were paying attention the first 7 or 8 games, and then now they're trying to get him, and he's just... he's getting them. I'll give him that he's getting the better of actual MLB pitchers, and I love it. Obviously, this man is not going to be able to keep this pace up.
So that makes him not the greatest of all time. Can you just retract that statement for me, Mr.
Through
Philadelphia?
18 games, he is the greatest baseball player ever, Dwight. Ever.
Pick a stat and stick with it, huh?
He actually, shout out to him, his strikeout rate is really low. His
You make
average,
it difficult for me to shout out these people when you say nonsense.
His average is really high. Like the Aaron Judge thing, remember how I brought up to you before the All-Star break about how Aaron Judge, does he deserve to be...
I like Aaron Judge.
I like Aaron Judge too, but I remember how I was talking about does he deserve to be the most popular player in baseball or whatever. Mm-hmm. His strikeout rate is like literally 2-to-1 ratio right now, where Rhys Hoskins, I mean, he's striking out at a very low rate. Look, Aaron Judge, not to dog Aaron Judge, because I like Aaron Judge. He literally is still continuing the longest streak for most strikeouts in most games in a row, striking out. Like he's struck out, I think it's up to 40-something games. It used to be 38. Like he beat the record and he's just running through it now. So, but look, and I mean the other end of it is he's still hitting home runs at a great rate. So I'm not like that's just his game. Then he is literally strikeout or home run. People make those jokes right now. That's just and He'll probably start hitting less home runs throughout his career. His average will go up, and he'll start striking out less.
No,
also, the Yankees lineup is going to have Sanchez, Torres, him. Like they're going to not. They're not going to need him to hit the home runs he's hitting right now to maintain what they're doing.
He'll still have a great career, and he'll still be all right. But
back to Hopkins,
it's going to even out. Yeah.
No way Rhys does this for...
I was going to say, can we even that guy out before we even out Aaron Judge?
Even for the rest of the year. I don't think he makes it through September just demolishing home runs the way he is. But as a Phillies fan...
You got to have some hope, huh?
It's pretty awesome. But I've been making the jokes to Phillies fans. On Saturday, the Phillies lost 17-2. He hit a home run in the game. So, like, is it really helping?
Does it really matter?
They got to figure out some bullpen, honestly. You give up 17 runs. They won the series, by the way. So they lost one game 17-2, but they won the other 2 games in the series against the Cubs.
When you're your best player on the worst team, does it matter?
And you know what's funny is even though he's playing as well as he is, I mean, there is a lot of good young talent around him that he might not end up being the best player out of this young talent because you have Franco, Alfair, I mean, Crawford's yet to come up. There's another 2 or 3 guys that they literally just brought up as well. You have Aaron Nola. So the future, he might just end up being a pretty...
that Philly future again.
Yeah, right. Shout out to the Sixers. Trust the process, I guess.
I don't trust anything.
I know you never do.
DTA.
But I am excited that he did what he is doing in a Phillies uniform. It is fun to watch, and it's given the city a little bit of life around the Phillies when really the last 3 months we've just been kind of waiting around for the Eagles. So
that's not every year.
Since like 2011, yes. But hopefully, one day we're talking about him as the new home run king. Hopefully he hits 73, so we don't have to talk about steroids or not steroids.
Keep hope alive, bro.
So, to a sport that you really, really like, that you watch, that basically started this, We have an NFL preview coming up next weekend, Dwight, and I'm like just like wired about
Doesn't make any
this.
sense.
This is going to be exciting. I can't wait to sit down and dive into every team, talk about how great Jameis Winston might be or not might be, how my boy,
wonder what route he's going.
my boy Deshaun Kaiser getting the start in Cleveland because he had no competition. How about Josh McCown getting the Jets starting job? You know what? I went from thinking they might not win any games this year to there's maybe one or two right there.
That's pathetic.
No, we'll get there. We were definitely going to dive into the NFL next week, but there is 2 topics I want to talk about fast.
Okay.
Vontez Perfect, I asked you before we did the show because I wanted to be prepared going into this. You did not see the hit, so it's going to be hard without you seeing...
No, I don't watch preseason football. I'm a
you
real
seeing
man.
the hit, but Perfect, I actually didn't watch the game. I just saw the highlight.
I don't watch highlights of preseason football. I'm a real man.
It was brought to my attention. I actually didn't even go out of my way for it.
I'm proud of you.
I know, right? It's first. He decided
We went out on a Friday night and this man was saying, what games are on? This is what this man told me.
Just trying to see if we can watch the game.
This guy. Anyway. That's him.
Just trying to scout the Seahawks.
He did though. That was funny. I wanted to punch him in his face.
Didn't think it was that big of a deal.
No, but I was actually like, yeah, what game's on as well? Anyway.
He was literally like, what? Anyways. Perfect, the Bengals linebacker, the Chiefs fullback, I apologize, don't know his name. He got 1 yard out front line of scrimmage, and he was running a route, and when he looked back, he never got his head turned back around and got absolutely popped right here in between the chin and the neck, basically. Gets put on the ground. It was a hard, dirty hit, because the reason it's a dirty hit is the ball was actually already well over their heads going to somebody 20 yards downfield. So he just hit a man out of nowhere. Perfect has a history, so the NFL is talking about suspending, at least fining him or suspending him 1 to 5 games. I don't know if he gets suspension for the hit, but it was a defensive hit, and the ball was well over their heads.
Okay.
I know you didn't see it, so I don't know if you're going to have much of an opinion on it, but to me,
I mean,
ball over the head
yeah.
is enough for me to be like, dude, like, enough people are getting injured in this game.
Right.
You don't need to be knocking heads off. Like,
no. Not in preseason.
Some of the, and that's
not in general, but
my point
preseason.
was, my thought was, if this happens week 3, I'm a little concerned that he's doing this, but it's preseason.
Trying to make a team?
Like,
what you
no,
doing?
he's a starting linebacker. He was an All-Pro, if I'm not
look,
mistaken. He was definitely an All-Star, or I mean a Pro Bowler.
You're saying this up here, unreachable? That means...
Oh, no, the ball was going 20 yards downfield to a whole different receiver. They were 1 yard off the line of scrimmage. The ball was literally higher than the ceiling is to this because it was going. It wasn't even passing the ball to this guy.
That's a suspension in the regular season.
That's where I was
That's a
at.
suspension in the preseason. If it's unreachable, what are you doing?
And it wasn't even thrown to your man.
Right, okay, right. No, yeah, that's a problem. No, that's a problem. I don't even have to see it. It's
20 yards above him.
Yeah, you're suspended. That's 3 to 4 games.
If
Zeke gets 6 for doing nothing, you get 6.
It was within the 5 yard thing, so the people who are arguing, well, I thought you were allowed to hit him within 5 yards. It was technically a clean hit because he.
But you're not supposed to hit him high. So what are you talking about?
I don't. But not even just hitting him high thing, man. Why would you just hit him and out? Like, why are you putting him to the ground in that situation?
Yeah, you don't want to hit him in his legs either. I mean. But if you tackle him, you look ridiculous too. So I mean, why would you touch him? The ball's not coming towards him.
I brought it up because I think personally, I think you should get 1 to 3 games suspended. I think you just
at least he gets 6 games, he gets 8.
I think you at least at minimum, yeah, that's fine. I could understand your logic on that. I would say just whatever at minimum, figure out a way to prove to the rest of the league that this can't happen again. Should make a statement.
He needs to get a couple. More than a fine. Don't just fine it. That's a suspension.
This is just one reason people are talking about trying to shorten the preseason, trying to make the preseason different because of things like this, things like the Edelman injury.
Jesus.
That doesn't happen in a practice, because he's not trying to outrun anybody. He's just jogging 20 more yards downfield and cutting out of bounds. Even in the joint practices, they're not chasing him and tackling him. He was making a cut because he was afraid he was going to get tackled.
He tears his ACL in a preseason.
And not saying people can't get hurt in practice. People get hurt all the time in practice. I'm saying that specific play does not happen during these practices. These joint team practices where you still are getting what you're getting out of a preseason game, except you're doing it all week in different drills, and it's just it's less chance of this happening.
Ryan Tannehill's out, and he was doing it
exactly, and that also had to do with a prior injury. But anyways, every individual case is individual. But point being. This specific play, most likely, he's not making that cut anywhere in practice.
No. And that sucks. That really sucks. ACL for the season.
For the season. We're both Edelman guys. We like Edelman. I like
cool with
Edelman.
him. I don't dislike him.
He's fun to watch. Anybody who is going to be literally barely bigger than me, like size, tallness wise, he got a lot more muscle than me, obviously, but barely bigger than me size wise, and he's gonna go run in the middle of linebackers who are twice my size, and in safeties who are much taller than us, and just getting absolutely rocked around. And doesn't
care.
I mean, that's what football's supposed to be about. You're supposed to glorify
Allegedly.
that guy. So. It does not. It's not fun seeing a guy like him, especially in preseason.
Can we both agree that it doesn't really hurt the Patriots as much as it does on paper? Can we both agree that it really doesn't?
I was actually going to say part 2 of this is I feel bad for him and that he's going to realize that if he had any contract thing coming up anytime soon, he can't even try to say like, well, you need me, because Chris Hogan is going to end up, I think, taking a spot this year, or whoever. Yeah, right. The lacrosse player from for PSU.
Hulk's younger brother?
Yeah, Hulk's younger brother. No, I think it's Hulk's son's illegitimate child. Maybe. I don't know.
Put me in pads. Brady's going to give me the ball.
In space.
I'm going to figure it out.
In space.
I'm going to try to figure it out.
In space.
He'll be alright. They'll be alright. I mean, it does suck. I mean, he's a little bit of a talent. I'm not going to disrespect his man.
He's a talent.
It sucks.
But so is Randy Moss. So is LeGarrette Blount. So was Aaron Hernandez. So was Gronk every time he was hurt. He's a talent, don't get me wrong. But
so was Brady.
So was Vinny Testaverde, or not Vinny, Vanderjack, who was the other, no, not Vanderjack, who was their kicker? Mike Vinatieri, that's right, Vinatieri. So was Teddy Bruschi. So was Harrison on the outside. So was Brady when they went 3-1, like you just pointed out. Everyone.
So was Matt Castle.
There's a lot of people with talent on that roster.
So was
Troy Brown.
They've had a lot of names.
There's been a lot of talent.
A lot of bodies out there.
They could all just leave though, and they still win.
They all do all right stuff. So I mean, they'll be all right. Ain't nothing to worry about if you're New England or if you're a New England Patriots fan. It'll be all right.
You still might go undefeated.
So boo-hoo for y'all. It sucks for Patriots fans, huh? Unless you got his jersey, then I'm sorry.
We got to keep this
which is like
NFL segment short on the basis of we got a lot of NFL to talk about next week. We're
much.
going division by division.
Like a 3-hour show.
We're going into playoff predictions. I might even get Dwight to tell me who he thinks is going to be the MVP this year. Probably not.
I know hell is going to be cold this year. A lot of way this year is going, it won't surprise me. I'm just saying.
There's more football to talk about.
Excuse you.
Starting Thursday this week.
Oh, Lord.
Ohio State takes the field, but more importantly, can we all just say, Saturday. The Golden Domes, man. The Golden Domers are coming.
I thought I heard John Cena sucks.
3 cheers for old Notre Dame.
Yay. Here's one. You ain't getting any more out of me.
The Irish
are
really back.
Starting this week. This doesn't make any
College
sense.
football is back. My favorite.
It is the end of August. This
my
make any
favorite.
Sense. This doesn't make any sense.
It is Labor Day weekend.
It doesn't feel like it to me. It really
every
doesn't.
Labor Day weekend.
I don't know what it is.
We get to college football.
I don't get it.
High school football in this area started last weekend.
It really did, which is even more disgusting.
It's back.
It has gotten a little chilly out here lately compared to what it should be in August.
Somebody told me 9-3 for my Fighting Irish. If they go 9-3, Brian Kelly still has his job, and I will be a lot more confident. Right? No, I agree. I think that they can win their first 5 or 6 games going into the USC game and be undefeated going into that. But I think that with the talent USC has, you'll start to see the difference. In the back half of Notre Dame's schedule is pretty loaded. So
weren't they garbage last year? How
they were.
Be
9-3. No, I don't think they're gonna be 9. But I think they can go 6-0 early because they do have a tough schedule early. But I think they are capable of winning that. It's going to depend on Winbush for the first 6 games. I think after that they are just going to play a lot more experienced and talented teams. Hopefully I am wrong. Hopefully the Irish are better than I think.
Are they going to pretend to have a defense this year?
I hope so, man. That's
rough.
What
we need to talk about.
Tackle anybody
talk
last
about
year.
Getting 6 wins, and we don't even have we have no.
Yes, they need to not lose games the way they lost games late last year. They need to not give up 40+ points often. As I was coming in week in and week in and week in talking about
garbage.
If I was Kaiser, I would leave too the way he did.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Let's pump the brakes on this 6-0 record. I'm just saying, let's just wait and see. Don't get too hyped. Don't do your Philly hopeful hype on your Notre Dame hopeful thing.
I was gonna do. Well, I'm way more invested in Notre Dame than I am
No, we know.
any
Which
Philadelphia
makes it even
sport.
more ridiculously exaggerated.
Which is ridiculous. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's hard to think about.
I mean, it's
but
6-0 after what he saw last year.
Well, because I feel like the schedule is reasonable for them to do 6-0. I don't know if they do it. I'm saying it's reasonable for them to do that. And then I think
I
USC.
feel like it's reasonable for me to win that Powerball, and I didn't get it.
USC, who I dislike more than I dislike the Dallas Cowboys, I think will blow Notre Dame out of the water. So, like, I'm not sitting here trying to, as of today, who knows what they're going to look like 6 weeks into the season, but I'm saying, my point is even if Notre Dame goes 6-0, it's just because of the way the schedule works out that way. I think they can win 6-7 games this year, but I just think that
Total.
5-6 of them, right, I think that 5 or 6 of them come in the first 6 weeks.
I'm sure they won't, but...
I was going to pick a Final Four, right?
Of course you were.
Thinking about it, you got to pick a Final Four. You know, there's 4 teams at the end of the playoff.
So you want to man up or shut up?
I didn't pick a Final Four. I just picked the 2 teams that I think are going to at least get to the national championship unless they play each other in the Final Four.
So you get partial
the
credit.
2 best teams, I think, this year.
You'll get partial credit.
And I think it is just like it is every single year. Bama and Ohio State are head and shoulders
Change it. You
above
get no credit.
everyone.
Never mind.
I think Oklahoma's going to be
You get no
good.
credit just because you went chalk.
I think Oklahoma's going to be good.
Which
I think
is expected,
Oklahoma
but I mean,
State.
no.
I think Oklahoma State is going to be the wild card because I agree with everyone. Their schedule works out. So Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, one of those 2 are going to win the Big 12, and I think they both are really good. I don't think either of them have good defenses, but I think they have better defenses than most Big 12 teams. And I think again that's going to be a great game against each other. And I think they might get one of the 4 spots. I think if you're looking at, out west, everyone thinks that USC is the team out west.
Always.
I think Sam Darnold is good. USC keeps falling off the track since Pete Carroll left. I'm not saying that happens this year. This is probably the most talented, and it's just obviously the most talented I think they've had. I hate to give USC any credit, so it's hard for me to be like they'll be the other team. But I think that they have a legitimate shot. I think Michigan is going to be much better than people give them credit for. I don't think the Big Ten is going to be all that good this year. I think that Wisconsin just lost their biggest linebacker, so their defense was everything, but it's just going to depend on how they bounce back with that linebacker loss. I think Northwestern was kind of a fluke last year, but even if they do near what they did last year, they're not going to do what they did last year. I think Penn State is. I
was gonna say we got to address our locals.
I don't trust their quarterback with Squirrely. I think that their running back.
I just lost all our fans.
Barkley is. Their running back, Shaquille Barkley, is insane. He is going to be, I think, a really good NFL talent, but he's just incredible. Let me put it this way, and you know how much I like Zeke, so I'm not trying to knock Zeke when I say this. Zeke on a dry land is not as fast as him when he's running on wet grass in rain. He's faster than Zeke Elliott in wet grass than Zeke Elliott is on dry land. Like, this dude is just, he's an insane athlete. He's raw talent. And he basically carried them to the most impressive performance that I think I've ever seen in a Penn State uniform in my lifetime in the Rose Bowl, and the loss, unfortunately, for him. But it was insane to watch, and not just that game, all season long. Because like you said, they're a local team, so I catch a good amount of their games. He's been incredible. The thing I don't trust with them is their defense is solid talent-wise, but Ohio State is just so talented offensively. Even though I will give Penn State credit, last year defensively they held up with that talented offense. So maybe they can do that. I don't think Franklin is a good in-game coach. I think Franklin is a great recruiter, and he recruits a lot of really good talent. So that is their shot, but I just don't think they have a quarterback. Squirrely is just, I don't trust him enough for me to say that I think that Penn State's going to win.
With that name.
To win, right? Yeah, but not just that. I mean, that's a joke. But like, I just think literally watching.
I know, because I'll trust Prescott. Either.
Literally, right.
Because this is some funky name.
Literally watching. That's funny.
I'm just saying.
That's funny. You're right. If Dak worked. Like Dak worked, be like, that name's a little.
That don't sound like a Hall of Famer.
Right. But Miss Squirrely, and that's the thing is like, I do think Penn State has a talent. I just don't think that I honestly don't trust him to be the guy. Especially with, I don't think the Big Ten is all that good. So I do think that it's going to be them, Michigan, Ohio State, and also another team out of the Big Ten that no one's giving any credit to. And I get it because Michigan State had a down year last year, but Michigan State has had one bad year under D'Antoni, and that was last year. So I honestly, and I'm not a Michigan State guy. That's one of Notre Dame's rivals. I think Michigan State's going to be way better than people expect. So you have another wild card in the Big Ten there to look at. I still think Ohio State beats all of them and wins the Big Ten anyways.
That's shocking.
I was trying to think
every year.
I'm trying to think of if I missed anybody. I think that Florida State could be a wild card to get into the to the Final Four, as well as Clemson. I think Clemson is getting overlooked in that last year's national championship team. It's just people haven't seen their quarterback, but their quarterback has been in the system for 2 years behind Deshaun Watson. This defense has a lot of returning guys, and they have won like 70 or almost 80% of games under Dabo Swinney, their head coach, who just signed a long extension.
That's
so
crazy. I'm
I'm not gonna go against them either. I think they have a really good matchup this year with Florida State. I think them and Florida State are going to be the two teams fighting for the ACC. I think one of those two could come out as the Final Four. So look, I'm just excited for college football. I mean, I'm just over here just like ready for this to start. I'm super excited.
Like it. My man knows everything about every team. It's ridiculous.
If you are, and I mean that's just what 10, 15 teams I talked about. There's 100 plus teams in college football. I can tell you about another 20 if you wanted. But
I'm sure
my point is if you're not doing anything Saturday night at 8 p.m., I promise you should probably turn on ABC, because that's Alabama, Florida State to open up the season. That is two top 3 teams going at it, and that's going to be fun to watch. I mean,
probably won't, but I hear you.
I'm telling you right now, I got Alabama winning that game because Jalen Hurts coming back. He was a freshman last year, went to the national championship last year. He's going to sophomore. He's only going to get better. And it sounds like their offense, who Lane Kiffin was their offense coordinator. It sounds like this new offense coordinator has actually been working with Hurts in a different way, and Hurts has really enjoyed the system that they put in place. So that's exciting. That's going to be an exciting game because I think Florida State is super fast and talented. We will see. The LSU BYU game, shout out to Houston, because I know they got a lot going on. Got moved from Houston to New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken.
It's only getting worse.
That's sad. It's supposed to rain even more. So shout out to Houston. H-Town, we're definitely JD Sports.
Know some people down
JD.
way, so.
I don't personally, but JD Sports
a little bit.
definitely.
More so outside of Dallas, but I mean.
Either way, I mean,
still close.
Stay safe, everybody. Everybody, stay safe. JD Sports definitely on the lookout. Bringing Dwight back in here for the last segment of the show. I talked about how there was a trade. But what I didn't say when I said that was we were hanging out Friday and Saturday, but Friday night we're hanging out, and I looked right at you.
Yep.
And I gave you some shocking news.
What was that?
Isaiah Thomas did not pass his physical. The trade that I thought might happen might not happen. They were supposed to talk Monday, have a conversation at 10 a.m., and here we are as of this recording, and there was no answer to what that conversation said or was about, or if the trade's on, if the trade's off.
I was hearing that it's going to be on.
I heard it's going to be on as well.
They're going to figure it out. But
are they? That's like until it's signed. Well, Chris Paul's supposed to be a Laker. It's on. They're gonna figure it out.
That.
But that's my point. I'm just trying to explain.
Well, they don't have a commissioner that's trying to halt this. My man just failed a physical, so I mean it'll be alright. They'll figure it out. If anything, you just resubmit the trade and start over.
I want to get into.
Supposedly that's what they.
I want to get into because I agree with you. I think it'll probably happen most likely. But I want to get into it. But let me just play with me for a second. Just have some fun. All right. Hear me out here. If it doesn't happen. Now, we all know, Kyrie turning back to the Cavs was going to be awkward if he had to go back to the Cavs, no matter if this trade was executed or not. So I'm not really worried about that, but I'm talking about for guys like Jamal Crawford or Isaiah Thomas, that guy who he was sort of like almost an MVP caliber player last year apparently.
Played the day after his sister died. Kept
busted
his teeth.
Really carried them through the regular season. Got them the number 1 seed. He was the star player on their team, if I'm not mistaken.
A guy that I feel like doesn't get enough respect or credit. What did their fans do to his jersey?
They burned his jersey, so that'd be awkward.
That was stupid.
That was dumb.
That was stupid.
That was obviously really dumb.
And LeBron tweeted out, which I guess he's the spokesman for everything now. So I mean that's what's up. I
think he did the right thing by saying.
I didn't disagree with what he said.
Dumb what the person did.
I thought it was dumb too. I mean, I say I agree with what he said about that situation. Then he was talking about a million other things. I was like, okay.
No, he went into more things.
I was like, you were right the first time
during that situation.
Yeah. I was like, otherwise
he didn't have to add other things on.
No, he didn't need to. But I agreed with him. It was like, wait, he was traded.
Why
are you mad at him? What did this man not just do everything for you 3 months ago?
As you just said, like, what more from a fan base perspective can you ask for?
Crazy.
Here's my
People just
thing.
want to be on Twitter, be on the internet. It's dumb. People want to be a Vine or whatever the hell is hip now. I don't know.
And you know me.
And it's stupid because there was no reason to burn his jersey.
You know me.
I'm still waiting to burn DeMarco Murray's jersey, and that's a reason. But
you know me. I am on.
that's stupid.
I try to look at it from every angle. Like I said before the show, we don't look at ourselves as media. We don't look at ourselves as fans. I try to even.
Damn sure not.
I try to even look at it from the player's perspective. Usually, I'm not saying with the fans because I think that players already have a weird thought of us humans that aren't involved in their sport. So.
Sure.
I'm not even just saying for the fifth. How does he look at the organization, though? How does he look at the Boston Celtics? Like you just said, my sister died on Friday. I played in a basketball game for you guys on Saturday. Or no, she died on Saturday. I played on Sunday. I lost my tooth the next Tuesday. I went to surgery for 8 hours. They played for you on Thursday. By the way, my sister died on Saturday. If you don't remember,
I had to go to a funeral at one point in between there.
On his way back on what Friday or Saturday, went to a funeral, flies back and plays the game with them on Monday. I mean.
As far as the fan situation goes, I feel like that was just a minority situation. I don't feel like that was anything.
Yeah.
So that let me just clarify that
yeah,
situation.
okay, I agree with that.
As far as the organization
goes,
goes,
the idiots who did that, they're dumb. But yes, organization-wise, what I'm saying is him looking back at the organization, doing all that for them, and then they trade him. By the way, he was an MVP caliber, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, and he got them to the first seed. He got them to the first seed, right?
Yeah, and they came out close to a finals appearance, one series.
Yeah,
you just lost to LeBron.
They were 2 games away.
Whatever. Right. So
didn't they win 2 games? Or no, they might have won 1 to go back. I think they won 1 game. Either way, they won 1 game.
Yeah, 1. Yeah.
Either way, like, to your point, they got to the Eastern Conference.
From his perspective, it would be awkward and crappy. From the organization perspective, it kind of sucks. I mean, having to say this, but at the end of the day, it is a business, and you feel like you're going to be better. The circumstances just suck because everything that you just named, he did not deserve that kind of treatment, especially that off season. Like that's BS, and I will agree with you. But it's also a business, so I mean, it's like
this isn't at you, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to answer this for the overwhelming majority that was saying this, but so many people were on Kevin Durant last year for doing what he's doing. What's the difference if a team does this to a player than if a player does this to a team? You just call that business when a team just did it to a player, but when a player did it to a team, we all called it personal. I don't. That. I
mean, it's different, but I'm not here what you're.
But but that's where I'm at. Is what makes it different. I find that Kevin Durant was going. He left an organization that he felt wasn't going to win a ring for an organization that he felt was going to win a ring. The Boston Celtics felt like they could get a better player in Kyrie Irving, which I agree with. They could win a ring with than Isaiah Thomas. So they did that. Because it's all for a championship.
Kevin Durant, his situation is more so the city looks at it as you bailed on us. When the organization does it, it's just like, well, why the hell did the organization do it? But I'm not mad at you.
But they literally, because and the reason this works out is because Kevin Durant literally went from a team that lost to another team. They were considered, at least in the last couple of years, a little rivalry going on. The last couple of years, a little rivalry going on with Celtics and Boston, and here we are.
That's BS, right?
And do you see what I'm saying? So
and I say it's BS.
And I know that, and that's why I was saying I'm not really coming at you, and I don't know if you can speak for everyone that was saying this because you were strong about it, but you weren't as strong as a lot lot of people I know about how big of a problem that was.
I thought it was.
You thought it was a problem.
Crap.
You thought it was trash,
crap.
and you were mad, and I get that. But
I think it's trash with the Celtics are going at the same time. I don't know.
The overreaction.
I don't know.
To me, the overreaction one way.
I think it's more so like if you want to trade him, fine. But when the circumstances that just make it grimy, yes, that makes it disgusting.
And look, I don't have a problem with the players doing it. I also don't have a problem with the teams doing it to the player. While I am with you, it sucks. It is grimy, and I understand the disappointment from both ways. But I mean, I'm not blaming them for doing what they were doing. Honestly, Kyrie Irving is a better player than Isaiah Thomas.
But he doesn't win without LeBron.
He has never won without LeBron. I don't know if he can win without LeBron. I think that his system might not really work for him to win without LeBron. But he might. He's a better player. He's a better player than Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, that's what
we have seen Isaiah Thomas' ceiling. Isaiah Thomas will never get better than what he did last year. He might do that for another couple of years, which would be super impressive if he did. But he will never get better numbers than what he just got.
I don't know what he does with Cleveland. I really don't.
He might get similar numbers. He might not. I don't think he gets as many points. The rest of his numbers might go up because you're playing with LeBron. he can't play no defense. Kyrie can play better defense. And the thing
Yeah,
with Kyrie is
right.
they're the same age, or actually Kyrie might be a year or two younger than him.
Kyrie,
Maybe a year or two younger than
I
him.
think Kyrie's older.
No, Kyrie was only 18 when he came in the league.
Oh, I don't know.
Isaiah graduated college when he came in the league.
Like a grown man. All right, then I don't know.
So that's why
right.
that's where the difference comes in. I think Kyrie's been in the league longer, but I still think Isaiah's a year or two older than him. But either way, point being, they're around the same age, and Kyrie actually might still have a little more growth in his game, where it doesn't seem like he's going to have any more growth in his game. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if we've seen Kyrie's ceiling. If we have seen Kyrie's ceiling, if he never gets better than what he is right now, then no, he's never going to win a championship.
I don't know if Kyrie's going to get any better than what he is.
Honestly,
really
off of that statement,
I
don't think that he can win a championship on his own.
Because I've already thought that he was excellent, but
I think him, Gordon Hayward, Al Horford, and I mean,
that's good.
If Tatum works out as good as he's supposed to be, you have a solid core,
that's
and
excellent.
That would be a possibility for a championship. And Kyrie has proven he can make the big shots, so the pressure's not going to get to him.
No.
It's can he carry a team? Can he lead a team? Can he pull the team the way that IT did? He just hasn't had to do that yet. When I say that I don't know if he can do it. I mean it in the sense of I just haven't seen him do it. And you're always saying prove it to me. My thing with him is he has been in the league long enough to prove it to me and hasn't. But also the other side of this, his last couple of years he's been playing with LeBron James. So that's not a fair assessment. You can't
name 4 other players that play with Kyrie.
It's not a fair. It's not a fair. Deion Waiters, and that's it. It's not a fair assessment. I'm not saying it is.
Gauskas maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm throwing names.
That's it.
Right.
Eddie Hughes? Did Eddie Hughes play for them?
I don't know. Larry Hughes? That was your point.
Who?
I mean, I'm still trying. I don't know who I think.
So usually
won
when
this
you
trade or who
when I was
did it.
Wow, we were on the same page. That's telepathic. Usually, I was just going to say. Usually, when you trade the superstar away, when you trade the better player, which we both agree would be Kyrie Irving, when you play the better player away 9 out of 10 times, and because I said 10 out of 10 times, but I'm going to retract it. 9 out of 10 times, you are going to lose the trade. But if they really get the Nets' #1 pick in this, which, by the way, the Nets had the #1 overall pick this year, doesn't mean they'll have it next year as well, but how much better did they get? They're going to be trying, obviously, but they were trying last year, and they didn't. They still had the worst record, or second to worst record, whatever it was.
Boston still has 1 million picks, so that didn't really faze me personally.
I'm saying for the Celtics.
Right.
I mean, for the Cavaliers side. The Cavaliers, that's just a big come up. I'm with you. Yeah, the Celtics still have one Sixers pick, a Lakers pick, and a Nets pick, plus all of their own. So trading one of those away wasn't that bad.
So maybe you lose. Okay, so maybe you lose LeBron next year. Who knows what's
happening with Kevin Love? You get the #1, 2, or 3 overall pick.
You got Isaiah Thomas,
and you have the #1 or 2.
So you might stay afloat in the middle of the card. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I feel like you know what? Yeah, Celtics got a better situation. I think it's just a more guaranteed.
Long term, as long as
it
if
seems
LeBron leaves,
because we're talking about a lot of what ifs with a pick. So,
but they're also, and I agree with the what ifs with the pick, and they're also kind of ensuring yourself if it is a top 3 pick for if LeBron leaves, the future of your franchise.
And we don't know what Isaiah's contract's going to do because
after he only got 1 year left on it.
Right. So it could be ugly for.
They also didn't they get Jamal Crawford, right? Is that who they got? And they got Crawford.
I don't remember.
I don't know if it was Jamal Crawford. They got some kind of Crawford. He was a good defense player, best defense player that might be on the Cavs. But that's the point of this trade, and they got one more guy as well. But that's the point of this trade.
In 2 years, it could be a completely different story in Cleveland. Nobody could be there. Literally, nobody on that team. Maybe Kevin Love still around.
The bigger point is: do you think that if this trade gets executed and goes through before the season starts, do you think that Boston and Cleveland are still the #1 and 2 team?
In the East, yeah. It's not even a conversation.
Do you think that it makes Boston do you think it gives Boston a better chance to beat Cleveland?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you think they can?
It's too early. I don't know. That's too. I don't know. Cause Boston's a whole nother team.
I'm not saying
it's a whole nother team.
I'm
now.
not saying
they've lost like 3 people. They've gained 2 different ones. I have no clue. They're right there, 1 and 2. Yeah.
I'm not saying that it will take them until the Eastern Conference Finals to figure it out as a team, but they are 12 new faces together in Boston if this trade goes through.
12. I said 3, so there you go.
That's a lot, and that's almost a full roster. Right. It might take them a second to get their feet on the ground. I'm not saying when they do get their feet. And by the way. Stevenson, their coach, Brad Stevenson, I mean, I hate to like him, but he's done an incredible job. And if there is a coach who has proven to me that he can get a bunch of guys who can't play together to play well, that's him. So if he got the talent that he will have with this trade, with Gordon Hayward, with Al Horford, with Tatum, so on and so on, the future picks that they get, if he can get them together in a reasonable time for the season, and they can be well-oiled machine going into the playoffs, they might have that shot. It might take them until the playoffs, though. We'll see. Like you said, it's really early.
Yeah, it's way too early, and we have no idea what that's going to look like. But on paper, it looks good.
I think
and they can compete.
That's
the thing.
going to be fun.
The thing with Cleveland, just to kind of reiterate my point, well, actually go against it because maybe Boston would be a better team just in general. Just I don't know, like just adding Isaiah is cool, but I don't think Cleveland added anything. Like there's nothing else that they added to improve. Like
the defensive Crawford is a good defense player. He added defense. He's going to add defense so much they need.
LeBron needs another scorer out there. Is that Isaiah? Perhaps, but you're still relying on old faithful like J.R. Smith and this guy.
We both talked about this before.
Right.
But can Rose be that difference then?
Oh, I forgot about Derrick Rose, but no.
See where I'm at on this? Like, I mean, I think that with his numbers that he put up last year, he has a potential of being the difference. But that you can't guarantee, you can't bank on that.
He's coming off the bench anyway. So
but to my point is, to what you
or is he going to be the shooting guard?
The way you just it doesn't matter. The way you just explained it, you can't bank on Derrick Rose being that guy in the first place. Even what he did the last 2 years when healthy, you can't bank on him being that guy.
So even on paper, outside of LeBron, I would say Boston does look better.
I still think that if you had that gun to my head right now, I'm going to take the Cavs in a series.
Take LeBron out of the situation.
Take LeBron out? No, Cleveland's not even near what Boston is.
My point.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it comes down to LeBron like it usually does. So.
Speaking of too far in advance, we already talked about it, but I just wanted to remind everybody, if you made it this far into the show, next week is the NFL preview, the thing that started the show, the entire reason we are doing this.
The entire argument.
This is exciting.
What was the argument?
Well, that was about the Sixers in the process.
It was about the Sixers,
but
right.
We started to talk football, and we realized that football is definitely our wheelhouse against each other. Or with each other, by the way. Shout out to Art Briles, the old coach of Baylor, who let all 12-plus players get away with sexual assault and things like that. Other players get away with crimes, this, that, and the next thing. He got a job with a CFL team as an assistant coach. Colin Kaepernick still does not have a job, though. So...
shout out to New York for doing their thing last week, by the way. I'm just
did not help Colin, but yeah, I mean, I understand it. I get it.
Shout out to has nothing to do with it, but it's kind of that path. Shout out to Paris Jackson at the VMAs. Did you see her statement? She called out everybody.
Yes.
Pretty legit. Shout out to her. Shout out to everybody that's trying to do something out here with a voice. I appreciate it. We appreciate it because we ain't got one. We trying to, but we ain't there.
Stay on my mentions and on my Facebook about that. Or Barles got hired to a CFL team. It was a joke.
Yeah.
But I know so many people. I know so many people that was a trigger for them for me to say Kaepernick still doesn't have a job. They're going, well, it's a Canadian league. I already can hear it, so I was joking. Art Briles should not have a job ever again. No, it's fine. Art Briles should not have a job. He should not have a job. Yes.
Did I say that?
No, and it makes me absolutely mad that he has one. But you know. So
we appreciate you.
Thank you for watching JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight. Catch us next week. Go Irish!